This is Stage Left Planet, and I'm your host, Warita Wimbush. And today's episode is Black Women and Reproductive Health, hair relaxers, and what they don't tell you. Now, it has come to my attention that Black women's reproductive health issues can be caused by many things outside of just natural biological processes. That is right. The pro-choice propagandists, those such as Margaret Sanger, Planned Parenthood, many other talking heads such as Joy Ann Reid, Sonny Hostins, Whoopi Goldberg, Planned Parenthood, and Planned Parenthood CEO Alexis McGill Johnson, and others will lead Black women to think that they just have a low capability to reproduce. Like the fecundity of the Black community is extremely low. This is not true. This is something that Margaret Sanger observed during her time at the Negro Project, where Black fecundity, Black reproduction was really high. Even her henchman W.E.B. Du Bois remarked upon it, stating in his The Negro and Birth Control that black people bred, now he called it the Negro masses, and I'll say this, W.E.B. Du Bois was an elitist who he believed in assimilationist eugenics, in which the best persons of all races, those who he figured to be the best, the smartest, the richest, the most talented, that type of thing. The most, the best, right? He considered them to be the only people to be qualified to reproduce, and that all others, even if it was the majority of humanity, should not reproduce because they would hinder and impede the progress of the evolution, the development of humanity. Well, W.E.B. Du Bois, from a black person's perspective, in my opinion, was looking at the survival of the black race in the context of them being able to assimilate into the mainstream white society, which means that those who had the most to offer to white mainstream society, meaning those who could put out more work, though. Like, okay, if you look at those who've been heralded in history, such as the inventors like Percy Julian and others, they were persons to have been considered a credit to their race and would contribute greatly to society and mankind. That is eugenics. This is also what Margaret Sanger and other eugenicists such as Thomas Malthus and even Darwin espoused regarding all of mankind, including white people. So this is what they were doing, and to convince people to breed themselves out, right? To breed themselves and their progeny, their type, out of existence. Organizations such as Planned Parenthood used birth control as a way to manipulate people into into limiting the number of children that they had. Now, one limit that Margaret Sanger had at one point, right, was that she didn't believe in abortion at one point. At one point, she didn't. Because she stated that once the child has been conceived, once fertilization has occurred, there is already a child, and to have an abortion would be to murder it. That was her feelings on abortion. However, she firmly believed in the preemptive measure of using birth control to limit the number of children from undesirable races and groups of people. Now, what she referred to as dysgenic, as well as other eugenicists or eugenists such as her, refer to them as dysgenic. Well, this is the thing. It was presented to people, as I've stated before. It was presented to people in a way that led them to believe that if they use birth control, it would give them a chance to space out their children or even prevent themselves from having children. That way they could have more economic stability. And even if they wanted to have kids, by limiting the number of children they had, they could have more economic stability and more time to spend focusing on each child. That was the goal of Margaret Sanger. Let me see. I'm going to see if I can try more light. Yeah, okay, that's a bit better. That was the goal of Margaret Sanger. So, don't be deceived by plans such as abortion and family planning, because family planning, the best family planning method really is abstinence. That's the best family planning method, right? Otherwise, abstinence and safe sex, meaning use a condom. Birth control pills can cause cancer and sterility, many other reproductive issues, some birth control pills. And also, certain surgeries and devices like IUDs can cause major reproductive problems, and health issues for women. So, just be careful. But in lieu of that, on to the topic of hair relaxers. It has been discovered that for years, companies such as Loreal have known that hair relaxers have caused major reproductive damage in women who use them. The women who primarily use hair relaxers are black women. And here's the thing. Loreal, if I'm not mistaken, in my research, Loreal has been a major supporter of Planned Parenthood. They've been a supporter of Planned Parenthood. And if not them directly, their subsidiaries, many of their subsidiary companies have been. These companies, along with Loreal, have neglected to share the information that if you're a woman who uses hair relaxers, that you are at risk for uterinefibroids, uterine cancer, endometrial cancer, ovarian cancer, and endometriosis, breast cancer, and other reproductive injuries. Also, in addition to that, even hair relaxers, because hair relaxers that are listed have been Optimum, ORS Olive Oil, Motions, Dark and Lovely, Soft and Beautiful, and African pride, and others as well. And this is the horrible part. Even the babies, the baby girls, have been impacted by reproductive injury and developmental injuries. So the baby girls have been have been affected by these hair relaxers and have suffered. Some of them have suffered developmental issues, developmental disabilities, and reproductive injuries and disabilities due to using Just4Me. And see, there was another one specifically for little girls that was listed. If you want to know, if you want to know more, you can do a Google search for hair relaxers causing cancer, hair relaxers causing cancer, hair relaxers causing reproductive injuries. And you can also go to the law firm of Seance and Kurtz, who is representing a class action lawsuit against the company of Loreal for hair relaxer injury. Well, this is something that is amazing, and I'm glad that this has occurred, that this lawsuit has occurred, and that this information is available, because the black community, women, and the Afro-American women worldwide have been deceived, preyed upon by eugenicists such as Bill Gates and his father, Bill Gates Sr., Planned Parenthood. His dad was on a board of Planned Parenthood. Bill Gates Sr. was on one of the boards of Planned Parenthood. And even Melinda Gates, all right. Black women have been deceived by these entities, Planned Parenthood, and their assimilationist meritorious manumission agents, henchmen, such as Raphael Warnock and Stacey Abrams, as well as many black female entertainers as well, right? Who are paid to entertain, to be a distraction. That's what much entertainment does. It's a distraction to distract you from what's really going on around you. And these people have been distracting you while they're telling you, while they're distracting you with TV shows like Power and all the worst of things that can happen to a black woman by merely being involved with a black man and by being saddled with a bunch of black children, right? While they are distracting you with entertainment based upon that, and they will even take it back to slavery and beyond slavery, to convince you, scare you into thinking, oh, I better not have children. I better not get married. I better not want to lead a normal, healthy, balanced, traditional life. I better just go out there and be an Instagram model or a thot or just your common hoe or a billion baby mama. Because it's all about sexual freedom. But no, it's not about that. It is a plan of eugenics. It is an agenda. It is an agenda to target black women for population control. Because that black people are usually the test subjects, as we saw with the Tuskegee experiment, in which men who had syphilis and some who didn't even have syphilis were given in my research, I found that some were given syphilis and were not treated. They were given a placebo, as well as those who did have syphilis. They were not given the treatment to cure it after a cure was discovered, which, if I'm not mistaken, was penicillin. They were denied treatment. The lead person that encouraged the denial of this treatment, the continued denial of the treatment, or the denial of the cure, even after the original doctors that started the project, scientists that started the project, wanted to end it for ethical reasons, was a nurse named Eunice Rivers, a black nurse named Eunice Rivers. So I will tell you this. Just because you're black does not mean you should trust all black people, even black professionals, and maybe even especially black professionals that approach you, especially those who come at you with health issue, with telling you have a health issue, because they are trying to get a bag. They are being paid to target and prey upon you, like Alexis McGill Johnson of Planned Parenthood, and like so many who have been dishonest and disingenuous about the impact and effects on black women from hair relaxers. So black women, please stop using them. If you have fibroids, reproductive health issues, please, if you use a relaxer or have used a hair relaxer in the past, that could very well be the cause. 20-year studies have been done on this issue. No, 25-year studies have been done on this issue, and the findings were that there is definitely a link between hair relaxers and black women's reproductive health issues. During Joe Biden's run for president, the feminists and all who thought they were just going to get a bag from Joe Biden, especially Black Lives Matter, black female founders of Black Lives Matter thought they were going to get a bag, the reparations bag from Joe Biden, and it didn't happen. Black Californians, Gavin Newsom is probably not going to make good on his promise for reparations for black people in California. Black descendants of slaves in California. He's probably not going to make good on it. So whatever elections he run for, do not vote for him. Period. That's how we got saddled with Joe Biden sending billions of dollars to Ukraine, but not completely canceling student loan debt, and putting an end to them stimulus checks for U.S. citizens for the amount of money that he said sent to the Ukraine. He could have been sending everybody, regardless of economic status, regardless of how much money they make or how little money they make. He could have been sending everybody a stimulus check every month. And not just people who have children, because, I don't know why it seems to be thought that if you have children, you're the only people or person that need financial help. Single people need help too, financially, shucks. But, yes, and it's interesting because usually stress and a lot of factors impact one's reproductive health, such as emotional trauma, just different stresses, right? But especially poverty. But yet, for Black women across the board, even if they are going to get reproductive health care regularly, they tend to have been the population of women that have had the highest the highest number, the highest frequency of health issues in terms of their reproductive health, right? However, Black women also have they are the highest number of users of hair relaxers as well. So just think about that. I'm Warita Wimbush. This is Stage Left Planet. Focus on God. Woo, let me turn this off. But definitely focus on God.